Did you find them?
Yes.
Good. Bring them to me.
Heyo!
What's going on, guys? I know, new day, new shirt. That's what happens when you do an audio, a video, and all the audio effects crap out on you. Nevertheless, we're Persevere, so let's get to it. Today we're going to be talking about how to make someone sound like they're coming from a phone.
How to disguise your voice.
How to do that AI voiceover.
How to do the epic voiceover.
And well, that just happened. So why don't we dive right in?
Check the mic and make sure it sound right, boys.
All right, let's just start with the easiest one. You have a character, you want to make them sound like they're on the phone, so you need to distort their voice a little bit. So I have this clip here. I don't know if you could hear that, it's pretty low, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to normalize the audio. I'm going to right click on it, go to normalize audio. In this case I have a set to -5 dB. Normalize, let's listen to that now.
Bring the package. Don't be late.
Now we need to distort it, so I'm going to open my effects library, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to one called Distort. Imagine that. We're just going to drag and drop that right on. Now there's two things I can do. I can drag it on the clip itself, or I can drag it on the track if I just want this one section to have an effect on it, or if I want their entire voice during the whole thing to be distorted. So in this case, I'll just drag it out right on the clip. It'll have this little pop-up. If I ever lose that, I just go over to the inspector, go to effects, click on this little icon, it'll pop right back up. The easiest one is do lo-fi radio.
Bring the package. Don't be late.
So turn it off, here's the original,
Bring the package. Don't be late.
with it on.
Bring the package. Don't be late.
All right, and that works pretty good. We have a few options here. This dry wet, this is just to apply the effect. All the way wet is 100% of the effect. All the way dry is no effect whatsoever. The other one you'll probably want to pay attention to is the level. This will be how much distortion there is. If I crank it way up, it may sound like a staticky intercom.
Bring the package. Don't be late.
And there's other presets you can do here as well. There's megaphone, this fuzz face that crunches down pretty hard. I'll spare running this one, it's a little heavy. So what if we want our audio to sound a little bit less like we're talking to the postman and a little bit more nefarious? What we can do with that is we can just go over to our audio and we can change the pitch. Now the track itself does not have a pitch option. In that we have an effect we can drop onto the track. If not, we can just click on a clip if we just want to change the clip. And under audio, there's pitch. There's 100 cents in one semitone, so that gives you a finer adjustment. But generally I find that 2 to 3 semitones works pretty well.
Bring the package. Don't be late.
So you can also crank it up the other way, make yourself sound like a chipmunk.
Bring the package. Don't be late.
The one difference between the effect on the clip and the effect on this pitch is this pitch only goes to -12 and 12. And here we have a range of 24 to 24. So you'd have to stack on 2 pitch effects to get the same result. All right, moving on. The AI voice effect. Now we're going to use some of the techniques that we've learned so far to apply it onto this. There's a few ways we can do this. Here's the original audio that I have.
Shield integrity at 35%.
We're going to layer this. I'm just going to hold Alt and I'm going to drag down, make a few other tracks. Now there's an issue with these tracks. You can see this one here. This is a mono track. These two here, these are stereos. You could leave it stereo if you want to get an effect of the voice coming out, you know, kind of all directions. For now, just so you can hear it better on YouTube, I'm going to change these to mono. And we're going to leave this main track alone. That's just going to be our standard voice, but we're going to add effects to these other 2 tracks. First thing we're going to do is we're going to change the pitch, and we're going to go on cents. And normally -40 to -60 cents works. Mute this last one. I just want to listen to these first 2.
Shield integrity at 35%.
That's not terrible, but we're going to keep adding to that. We're going to lower this one just a little bit. Lower the volume because we want that main voice to stick out a little bit. On this last one, we're going to go really far down, and then I'm going to solo it. If you solo this track, that means you'll just listen to it. It's a lot easier than trying to go through and mute all the other tracks. So we'll just go on solo, and I'm going to dip that volume down a bunch. I just want it to where I can barely hear it. I'm going to go ahead and listen to all my audio.
Shield integrity at 35%.
That last one was probably still a little too loud, so we'll bring it down. Maybe we'll just reset it to 0.
Shield integrity at 35%.
The other way you could do this, if we just had one audio track,
Shield integrity at 35%.
another effect you can throw on, just throw on coarse. What this is going to do is this is going to make a bunch of different voices at a few different pitches. And the best one probably for this is this dramatic. Go ahead and listen to that.
Shield integrity at 35%.
Now that's a couple different ways you can do it. All right, moving on. If you want to make that epic voiceover, nice boom. First of all, if you have a good voice, that really helps. I, for one, do not, as you can tell, but we're going to work with what we have. We can get pretty close.
In a time of myth and a land of legend.
Who remembers Hercules? Come on, that show was awesome. First thing we're going to do is we're going to lower the pitch a little bit. 1 works. I generally put it as -1, and then you can use the sense to bring it up to 2, maybe 1.5.
In a time of myth and a land of legend.
All right, that's not too bad. It is a little boxy. That's just the audio from my room. You know, the cleaner the audio you can get, the better. Now what we can do is we can add on some effects. I'm going to start with a multi-band compressor. Throw that on there, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to put most of these around negative, I'll say -15, and we're just going to use it to boost the lows, get rid of some of that mid. So go ahead and crank up the gain, maybe 5 here, lower it 5 or 7 here. We'll give some gain to the rest of this.
In a time of myth and a land of legend.
All right, that's already sounding a little bit better. It's subtle, but it does boost the bass a bit. All right, for the rest of this, let's go ahead and head over to the Fairlight page. Now, there is some stuff you can do in the inspector. If I go down to EQ, I can get up to 4 bands. But if I go over to the Fairlight page and I click on this EQ, I get 6 bands. And I've already been messing around with this. I should reset that. So I can go ahead and turn those on. This is low pass. Cut out any of the muddiness that your human voice really isn't in. I'm going to go ahead and start boosting up the bass a little bit. And then I'm going to put in what's called presence. It's in the 1 to 3 kilohertz range. It just lets your voice be a little bit clearer. But to find the best spots, you kind of need to play through your clip multiple times. Just grab this and sweep around. I'm not going to do that because it's really annoying to listen to. So I'm going to sweep around until I hear some good sounds. You'll have to do this with your voice as well. The easiest way to loop the clip is hit I, and I'm going to resize this. If I hold Alt and use a scroll wheel, I can shrink this down and compact it, and I already have it in and out there. If I hit Alt/, it'll play through my in and out points. If I click this loop, it'll continually loop it. So I'm just going to sweep around until I find some good points. What you're really looking for is just to raise up that presence a little bit, raise up that bass, and just sweep for levels that makes the voice sound clear and not muddy.
In a time of myth and a land of legend.
The other thing we can add to it are just some effects. You can go through, you can add a chorus on in there, try and get a little more vocal out of there. You could add in a little bit of an echo or even reverb. I've seen some people put on a little bit of reverb. These effects just have to be put on just a little bit.
In a time of myth and a land of legend.
Again, this is going to be up to you, how you want to do the voice and what you're going for. You add too many effects on there, it kind of sounds like you're talking into a tin can. The main things you're going to want to do is change the pitch, mess around in this EQ. Other thing you do is add on a compressor. If you add on a compressor, you can compact those frequencies a little bit so it sounds more even. But these are the tools you can use. All right, so you can do this last one on either the edit page or the Fairlight page. I'm going to go to the Fairlight page because I just want to show you the different things we can do in here. And it's really helpful to have this larger EQ to work with. So here's my clip. This is what it sounds like when I'm talking through a wall. Hopefully that sounds clear. Last time I recorded this, it actually did sound like I was talking through a wall. So hopefully it sounds clear this time. If not, I'm sorry. But I'm going to show you how to make the effect. The easy way to do this is go to EQ. We're just going to start moving things here. We're going to move this to about this spot. And we're going to take this one and move it down here. So what happens when you're talking through a wall is all of these higher frequencies, they just die. They don't have enough strength to get through obstacles. But all the bass ends up going through. So increasing our bass, reducing our highs. I'm going to move this one just a little bit. Move that there, maybe that there. And this gives us a pretty good effect.
This is what it sounds like when I'm talking through a wall.
Hear how muffled that is? And we can even bring that down even more, which is what we're going to do for the underwater effect.
This is what it sounds like when I'm talking through a wall.
I have a bit of music here that you can listen to. And I'm going to do the same thing to that. Off. Muffle it as much as you need to. If you have a character that's talking to someone and then they turn their head away, you can use this trick to keyframe it and start muffling their audio as they turn their head away. I'm going to bring back this track.
This is what it sounds like when I'm talking underwater.
And we're just going to increase that effect even more. So for this, I'm going to turn on these bands actually. I'm really going to bring up this.
This is what it sounds like when I'm talking underwater.
Super muffled. So a few things you can do to make it sound even better is add in water effects. I have these underwater sound effects, so I add in some water effects.
This is what it sounds like when I'm talking underwater.
And then there's a few things you can do with the voice itself. You can go to your effects library and you can add in an echo. There's a little bit of an echo underwater, so I kind of like the echo. You can add in reverb. You can add in a couple different ones. What I like to do is I like to use large hall.
This is what it sounds like when I'm talking underwater.
And what I do with that is I like to turn down the delay.
This is what it sounds like when I'm talking underwater.
And then you can add in some reverb.
This is what it sounds like when I'm talking underwater.
And you can just keep on layering effects depending on what you want. The circumstances, someone trapped in a car, trying to talk through the glass. You just want to make them sound like they're somewhere underwater talking. It's really up to you. But here are 5 effects that you know now how to do.
It sound right, boy.
In a time of casual viewing and gratuitous likes, one man dared to hit the subscribe button. Yes, I'm talking to you. Go ahead, hit it. That's not a touchscreen. Use the mouse.